With less than 2 weeks to go until the new year, we thought now would be a great time to share our print-on-demand predictions for 2025. In this episode, we are sharing 10 print-on-demand predictions for 2025. And this year, we've got bigger and spicier predictions than last year. My name's Adrian Von Arx, here with my co-host, Kerry Egler, and welcome to the Print-on-Demand Playbook Podcast. What's up, guys? We are just 11 days away from 2025 when this episode airs.
Why did you say that? That's like, it's crazy, man.
The pressure's on. The pressure's on. The clock is ticking. 2025 is going to be here before we know it. And that's why we thought there was no better time than now to do our predictions episode. So, Kerry, what's going on, my man? How you feeling about these predictions episode? How you feeling about 2025 being right around the corner?
Man, when you said that, I was like, I've marked January 1st in my brain as the date I got to like get my butt in gear, just start doing more stuff and being I don't know, just getting active, getting in the gear, you know what I mean? So that's a little bit scary, but I am excited for 2025. Got a lot of big goals, big things I want to accomplish in 2025. Feeling good. The predictions, I don't know. Try to add some spicy ones.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it on the podcast. We need to be a little more bold in our predictions. So I think there's some good ones in here. There's some probably that aren't as bold. There's some that are maybe a little more bold. So I think it's gonna be a fun episode, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, me too. Let's rock and roll. And I would say that these are spicier than last year's. Like, we're trying to raise the spice level on this year's prediction. So some of them not so spicy. It is nice, like I will say, to have some predictions that are like, okay, we're seeing things trending in this direction. And our prediction is that will continue, because then it's not just all a bunch of guesses. What's nice about that is then people can jump on these trends already. If they're also seeing the trends, or if they're hearing it for the first time, they can jump on these things, right? So this is gonna be a lot of fun. Just before we get into that, we got to shout out one of our listeners. You guys are awesome. I hope that every single listener of this podcast takes action in 2025 in some way. I know a lot of you guys are already taking action. I know a lot of you guys are getting results. I know a lot of you guys are in my program and in Kerry's program. Like, I know a lot of you guys are ambitious, massive action takers. But anyone that's been on the fence, like, mark a line in the sand and make 2025 your year, because the last thing you want to do is be at the same place next year and you're no further ahead, right? Like, the sales, the opportunity is there for the taking, and we want you to take it. But if you don't take it, someone else is going to take it. So with that, let's shout out one of our awesome listeners. This is actually coming in. I'm pulling this up from my phone here. This was a Apple review, a 5-star review from Miller4802. Shout out to you. Thank you for your review. You're awesome. And they say, hey guys, thanks so much for sharing your knowledge. I'm a mom of 2 that works full time and has a husband that travels for work a lot. I've always wanted to have a business of my own after dabbling in network marketing and freelancing for others on the side. My website and first collection are not perfect, but I've heard y'all say to take imperfect action before the year is over. So here I go. My store is on Shopify and my brand is in the inspirational family apparel niche, inspired by the recent hurricanes in Florida, my home, and a friend battling breast cancer. I've wanted a way to give back, so 10% of my proceeds will go to the various charities. I have 0 followers on my brand page and 0 on my email list. I need to load more designs. But here we go. Can't wait to see what the next year brings. Couldn't have done all of this in such a short amount of time without this podcast. Cheers. Whew.
That's awesome.
Wow. Well, you know what? Here's what I'm going to say real quick about the, you said I have 0 followers on my brand page and 0 on my email list. I've got good news for you. Everybody starts at 0. I start at 0. Kerry started at 0. Our students all start at 0. And a lot of people go on to create successful brands, but we start at 0. That's totally okay. You're in the right place. That's where people start. Now it's going to be your job to go out there, to offer value, to entertain, educate, inspire, attract your ideal customer, your target audience, put products in front of them that really evoke emotion and relatability. And you're going to start noticing your followers are going to start ticking up. It's probably going to start slow, 1 and then 2 and then 3. And then next thing you know, you're going to be driving traffic to your website. You're going to be collecting emails. You can even do it in social media through Instagram shops now. So there's a lot of opportunities for you to grow your following, your email. Congratulations on taking that messy and perfect action. I'm excited for you. It's beginning of 2025 and your brand is live. So let's go.
Yeah, great
All
job.
right.
Great job, Miller. I just wanted to say everybody starts at 0. That's
Totally.
hopefully that's encouraging. Everybody has to start at 0, just like you are. So we're excited to see what you do. Go get after it.
Totally. 100%. 100%. We wish you all the best. Thank you for being a listener. You're awesome. All right. Let's get into it. All right. We've got 10 juicy predictions. And I'm so excited. I feel like I'm like yelling. I'm going to like just like tone it down a little bit. But I'm just really excited for this episode because we've got 10 juicy predictions. I have mine at the beginning, and then Kerry has his at the end. So, Kerry, why don't we just go in that order where
Sure.
I'll go, and then we'll have you go, and we made sure that none of them overlap, so we don't both say the same prediction. So, what I wanted to do is I wanted to start out with just like cool and collected, just chill, just like the kind of like low key, chill productions, like predictions based on trends and whatnot. And then it's going to start getting juicier. And Kerry's got some juicy ones too. So here we go with prediction numero uno. Hey, I want to invite you to my free masterclass where I reveal how to make your first $10,000 in sales with Shopify and print on demand. If you are just starting out, this will give you a head start. And if you're a POD veteran, this training is meant to help you multiply your growth faster. So if that sounds interesting to you, you can register for that free training by clicking the link below in the show notes or by going to ecomlegendsacademy.com/grow. I'm just going to get this one off my chest because I know a lot of people are thinking about this. And if they're not, they're going to be thinking about it very soon. I do not think that TikTok will get banned in 2025. And I could be totally wrong. This is just a guess. There are so many creators and so many companies that have really built like their name and their brand and their reputation off the back of TikTok. And I just think that it won't happen. Although it is actually set to happen very, very soon. I feel like no one has been talking about it for a while. Do you feel that way, Kerry? I feel like it just kind of like the conversation ended, but like TikTok is still set to be banned. And I'm trying to find the date, January 19th. U.S. federal.
It's that date.
What's that?
I assume it's that date because the new presidential administration is inaugurated on the 20th.
Oh, is that it? Okay. I didn't even know that. Okay.
That's what I assume. It does feel like that is. It feels like the conversation kind of died, and then I've recently seen it start to spark up again. I've seen some different just pieces of content being put out about it. The conversation kind of obviously because it's getting very close. I'm in your camp. I actually don't think it will get banned. But yeah, it's it's something to pay attention to for sure.
Yeah.
But I think that it will end up not. I think if it does get banned, it will actually possibly get unbanned by the new administration. So I don't know how exactly how all that would work, but that's what I think as well. I'm with you on that prediction.
Okay. Yeah. And that's interesting. Yeah. So I see a headline here that says U.S. Federal Appeals Court upholds law forcing sale. TikTok ban set to go into effect on January 19th. So we will see. From what I understand, the new administration, they said that they do not plan on banning TikTok.
Exactly.
So maybe not such a crazy prediction. I mean, it would be so weird if it got banned on the 19th and then unbanned on the 20th.
Yeah, it's banned for one day.
So weird, right? But I think it did scare a lot of creators though, and a lot of brands and a lot of people that that like really their whole business was built on the back of TikTok. And I have noticed that a lot of TikTokers have been coming over to Instagram. They're probably just diversifying their platforms because they were shook by the announcement and they were just trying to protect themselves. And that makes a lot of sense to me, that if your whole livelihood was built on TikTok and this impending ban is getting closer and closer and it hasn't been 100% resolved, that would be pretty freaky. That'd be pretty scary. So that is prediction one, which we both agree on, that TikTok will not get banned in 2025.
That's a prediction. Don't take it as fact.
Totally.
Prediction.
It's 100% prediction. And you know what? From the time this episode goes out, we're going to find out within about a month of the date that this episode's released, if that did happen or not. So we'll see. We'll see. All right, here we go. Prediction number 2. This one, again, this is a softball because I'm starting soft and then we're just going to like ramp up the spice, okay? Prediction number 2 is that share-worthy content will dominate Instagram in 2025. So one thing that I say all the time to students and people trying to grow on Instagram is that shareable content is king. There's a number of reasons for this. One, it keeps people on Instagram for longer because they're consuming this content that's being shared with them, and Instagram loves that because then they can show them more ads. It also brings people back to the platform because when a friend shares a piece of content with another friend, maybe they tell them, "Oh, hey, I shared something on Instagram with you." So it forces them to go back on. There's a lot of benefits to this, but even Adam Mosseri, I never know how to pronounce his last name. Even the CEO of Instagram said that one of the best forms of engagement right now is a share. So this is already what I teach, to my students that want to grow on Instagram, and a lot of them are growing on Instagram. And this is one of the biggest things that we're doing is we're posting shareable content. A lot of it is funny and relatable for the particular niche. And what's nice about that is you are essentially training the algorithm on who this content is for based on the type of people that are going to interact with it. And then they'll have a better idea of who to recommend it to. So I think shareable content has been huge in 2024. I definitely think it's going to be one of the biggest ways to grow and get views and attention and potential customers in 2025 through Instagram. Kerry, your thoughts?
Yeah, I would just say one thing that came to mind was that like probably the most recent, maybe like furthering of this concept was like the ability on really all the platforms, but you can do this on Instagram as well, is like the remix feature. Like I think that's super cool feature. You know, you can do it on YouTube Shorts and you can do it on other platforms and different things, but it gives you this ability to like use content and then kind of weigh in on it or change it, you know, and like make it your own, and but still giving, you know, credit to the original creator and all those kind of things. I think that's really cool, and it tells you that platforms like Instagram and etc., other platforms are looking at ways to innovate and make content more shareable in different ways, and I think that's really cool. And the more shareable content is, like, I guess the easier it becomes to like get more views, right? If people are just sharing it out, they have these, you know, different size followings and different things, like it just gets out to more people the more it's shared. So platforms are making it easier to share content. And yeah, I totally agree with you that like it's a lot of times, like, this is really prevalent in the pickleball world. Like you see the same piece of content on like 50 different accounts, and it just goes like haywire. Like it's crazy how you just see the same content being shared over and over. And it's really cool because it definitely gets a lot of exposure, a lot of views.
Totally. Remixes are one of my absolute favorite ways to create content right now. And I have been really encouraging students who want to grow on Instagram to lean into remixes because they're technically original, as long as you make them original, which you should. That's the whole point. But you can leverage viral style content that you can see that it went viral already, and then you can make it relatable to your particular niche. And that's a form of creating original content without having to show your face. Because I know a lot of you brand owners out there, I know you're intimidated by showing your face on social media, and I totally get it. I never showed my face on my brand, not a single time ever. I still haven't on my brand. I was scared too. Now I'm not so scared, but my brand is primarily focused on females. So I'm not like the ideal customer. So it wouldn't make as much sense if I was on there. But if you can get comfortable in front of the camera, all you need is your cell phone. Like that is enough to create some amazing content.
Sure.
And so, yeah, what I love about remixes is a lot of people, they don't want to go in front of the camera. And this is a great way to create original, engaging, viral style content while not having to show your face. So, yeah. All right, here we go. Prediction number 3. Now this one's a bit of a spicy one. Maybe not. Many Etsy sellers will diversify away from Etsy. They will build brands on platforms like Shopify and start driving their own traffic through social media and email marketing. And I'm not just saying this because Shopify is a platform that Kerry and I use and recommend to everyone. Like, y'all know we believe that Shopify is the best platform to build a profitable and sustainable brand. But I want to drop some statistics here. All right. I don't want to just be like saying this with nothing to back it up. All right. So hear me out here. First of all, Etsy print-on-demand sellers, I think that the sales per seller are going to continue to decline due to a continuing wave of new sellers and increased competition from low-cost competitor sites like Temu and Shein. We're already seeing this. Like Temu like came out of nowhere, and they have been dominating in the low-cost e-commerce world. So has Shein. And unfortunately, they've been caught a couple of times stealing designs from people like Etsy sellers and then selling them for like half the price. Whereas print-on-demand Etsy sellers can't even compete. You know what I mean? Not cool. No one should ever be stealing designs, especially these multi-billion-dollar companies. Not cool at all. However, this is the risk that you take being on a commodity-based marketplace like Etsy and not having a brand where it's much more challenging to create brand loyal customers. If you don't have a brand, it's much more challenging to create brand loyal customers. It's very risky being fully reliant on any marketplace, not just Etsy, Amazon, eBay, whatever marketplace. It's very risky being fully reliant on these for sales because competition is fierce. It's very challenging to stand out. A lot of businesses, a lot of shops, they look exactly the same. A lot of people, they rely on sales from free traffic. And Etsy and other marketplaces particularly Etsy has a terrible reputation for permanently banning accounts, many times out of the blue and for no good reason. I don't think that's good at all. I wish they would not be doing that. I wish that people could appeal it and more people could get their accounts back. I support any platform that empowers print-on-demand sellers to make sales. And I use and love Etsy for that purpose. However, building your whole business on a marketplace, on a rented platform where they have control, they control the algorithm, they control the policies, they control your audience, they control whether you can be on there at all. That is just really, really scary. But Kerry, anything you want to say before I share this crazy statistic?
No, I want to I go ahead and share the statistics because I want to talk about that.
Okay. So this is actually pretty wild. Like I like to make a lot of my predictions based on data and kind of trends where things are trending. Mm-hmm. So I looked at some data, I did some research online, and I found the number of buyers on Etsy and sellers on Etsy in 2020, and then the number of buyers and sellers on Etsy in 2024. And I think you're going to be shocked. I think you're going to be shocked here. So here it goes. 2020. This was when Etsy was like at its peak. It was doing so well. There weren't as many sellers. There were 81.9 million buyers on Etsy in 2020. So let's just say 82 million. All right. There were 4.47 million sellers. So let's just round up. 82 million buyers, 4.5 million sellers. Etsy in 2024, 95.1 million buyers. Over 9 million sellers. Like, the math doesn't math. Like, here, so I got the percentages for you because I wanted to go the extra mile. I just want to make this crystal clear. Like, the math doesn't math here. The growth in buyers from 2020 to 24 is around 16%. The growth in sellers from 2020 to 2024, 102%. How many times more sellers are there than the seller growth than buyer growth? So like, just from purely a number standpoint, this is, if you're taking the average of the sellers and the buyers and saying, oh, let's divide equally the number of sales per seller, it would be significantly lower in 2024 than in 2020 because the buyer growth is only up 16% and the seller growth is up over 100%. This is why I believe that Etsy sellers are going to start driving their own traffic, to their listings on Etsy, because free traffic, like, this is what happens when you rely on free traffic, is it attracts a flood of competition. And then all of a sudden you get to like this equilibrium where people aren't making much money. People just keep lowering their prices. And then you get to this equilibrium where it's like a lot of people are just breaking even on making sales and whatnot because there's so much competition and it's so hard to stand out. So this is why I think Etsy sellers, I think they're going to start driving their own traffic to their listings on Etsy, but I also think they're going to start building brands on Shopify, especially those successful ones, because then they're not going to be fully reliant on Etsy, which could potentially take their account away, but also then they can grow their brand. Like, relying on free traffic is not the same as going out and getting your own traffic. Like, if you rely on free traffic, you are basing your sales on demand capture, right? Demand capture. And you're just hoping that your products get discovered and you're hoping that people buy them. With marketing, with proactive marketing, you're more focused on demand generation. And if you can get, let's say that you have a winning design on Etsy and you get in front of 1,000 people and let's say you make 100 sales. What if you went out and you put that same product in front of 100,000 people? Yeah, you're going to pay to acquire customers in a lot of cases. You're going to pay. There's going to be a cost per acquisition. But still, the upside potential, even if your margins are a bit smaller, the upside potential is significantly higher than just sitting back, relying on free traffic, hoping that people are going to buy it. And the longer you sit back and do that, guess what? The more time there is for other people to discover that design. And next thing you know, there's going to be 30 of the exact same design on Etsy. It's just like, there's a number of issues here, I love Etsy. I'm not trying to hate on Etsy. I use and love it. And I want people to keep making sales on it. But I want you also to think about this, like about building a profitable and sustainable brand for years and years and years, right? If you can go out there and you can create your own traffic, if you can get 10x, 100x the traffic on your products, you can make a lot of money in a short period of time. And if you can continue releasing products that people really love, that really resonate, then you can continue doing this for years to come. All right, that was a mouthful. Kerry, I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to add that, the statistics are pretty clear. We've gone through some of these similar statistics before on other episodes. And when you look at their stock price, when you look at the stats of, like you said, the growth of buyers and the growth of sellers and how that measures up, like, it's easy to see that Etsy is not as good of opportunity as it once was, mainly because of the flood of buyers or I'm
I
sorry,
mean,
the
flood of
flood of
sellers.
sellers.
Yeah.
Um, and I think I think they've just gotten away from what made them awesome. And that was like handmade custom goods, the small seller, the, mom and pop, those kind of things, like just the side hustle people, they're kind of making that extra income. Like that's what the culture was about. And so it's been diluted a little bit by a number of things. I also think they've kind of botched the AI thing, as we've talked about on previous episodes. Like it's just kind of been like it's just kind of a mess over there with AI and with copyright infringement. That's been a huge deal. There's just been a lot of issues with Etsy over the last couple of years, and they just haven't seen the growth that they would hope for. And so, do I think it's still a good opportunity? Yeah, I think still a good opportunity. I don't think it should be your primary platform, as you kind of mentioned. And so, I totally agree with this prediction. Like, I think if you're smart and you want to maximize profit, you want to maximize revenue and how much you can grow your brand, you want to build your own brand on its own platform. You want to build your own website, you want to own your marketing, your email list, your advertising, those kind of things. Because you can grow it way bigger, you can make way more money. The opportunity is way better than it is on using Etsy primarily, along with the risk, as you mentioned, of being terminated and those kind of things. And I know people that have had their accounts terminated and they can't get them back. There's no way to get them back. They
Same.
tried creating new accounts, doing all the things, and just can't get them back. So yeah, totally agree with this prediction. If you're primarily selling on Etsy right now, I mean, we even did, me and you did a store review from one of our listeners last week, and they were primarily on Etsy. If you're on Etsy right now, it's a risk, like we said. So like, go at least start moving that direction. Start figuring out how you can, build a brand on Shopify and own everything. I think you should consider it for sure if you're selling on Etsy.
Yeah, 100%. The only caveat I can really think of is that if you have a super original product that isn't a print on demand product and you don't have much competition, then you might still be able to dominate. Of course, you still have that massive risk of
Yeah,
losing your account any day. So I still don't think you should only be on Etsy. Um, like we're saying Shopify because that's what we use, love, and recommend. If you want to go on Wix, if you want to go on whatever website builder, try it out. We think Shopify is the best, but you don't have to go with Shopify. Just
sure.
get on an owned platform, like an owned, not a rented platform. All right. Prediction number 4. Here we go. Print on demand will continue to disrupt multi-billion-dollar industries, allowing print on demand sellers to profit from that huge demand. So, what inspired this prediction was the fact that Printify alone disrupted 3 huge industries in 2024. They disrupted skincare, supplements, and coffee. Now, maybe there were some other print on demands out there that offered this. I had never seen any. Like my focus is on kind of like the big reputable ones. And none of them were doing any of these product categories. So I was really impressed and I was excited for the potential for print on demand sellers because those are massive, highly profitable industries. And I believe that print on demand sellers deserve to compete with the big boys. Give them a run for their money. That's what I want for print on demand sellers. I want people to create brands that can change their lives, that can totally transform their livelihoods. And so I love opportunities, hearing about opportunities like this. And I know some people are going to jump on them and some people are going to probably create some really successful brands and they deserve it. And I'm excited about that. But because those 3 kind of came out of nowhere in 2024 and were so shocking, I was like, this is going to continue. This is going to continue. There's going to be big print on demand companies have to be eyeing other big profitable industries. And I'm going to go an extra step and make a prediction, which could be way off. I could be totally wrong. This is 100% a guess. So put nothing behind this. And Kerry, I'm curious too to hear if you have a prediction. But my prediction for 2025, if I had to think of one that could be disrupted, a new multi-billion-dollar industry, drum roll, please.
Drum roll.
That's the drum roll, is makeup. Makeup. There are so many beauty influencers out
Mhm.
there on Instagram, on TikTok, on Snapchat, so many beauty influencers. And I'm sure that a lot of them would love to create their own makeup line as opposed to just promoting other brands. How cool would that be? Like if you were a beauty influencer and you had a following of 500,000 people that watch you do makeup tutorials. How cool, a lot of them are doing brand deals. How cool would it be to start your own line and show your own makeup, like putting on your own brand of makeup? Now, I know some do this. However, there is kind of a high barrier to entry, I would think, or I would say. I don't know a lot about makeup or the makeup industry, but I would think that there was, without print on demand, I would think that there was a high barrier to entry. And this is why we love print on demand. Low risk, low cost, quickest way to start a t-shirt or apparel business, or a wall art business, or a metal wall art business, or a hat business, or like
Mhm.
you name it, right? But I haven't seen print on demand makeup. And so this is a total guess. Kerry, I want to hear your thoughts. And if you have one, like just drop something, man. Whatever you're thinking, what's going to be the next multi-billion-dollar industry that print on demand is going to disrupt?
Man,
I'm putting
I
you on
mean,
the
the ones
spot here.
that
I know. So
the ones that I've seen though, like that you've been talking about, they shocked me. Like if you go into Printify right now and look at the supplement line, there's like 2 full pages of supplements. Like it's pretty
massive,
wild. Like you can get full on like whey protein. Like and I mean, I think it's interesting because it's essentially like you said, it lowers the barrier of entry. It's essentially white label, and that when you white label something, it doesn't mean that it's low quality, right? Like it just means
right?
that you brand it and you can create a brand around that item, um, and that's what kind of sets you apart, right? Is the brand. But it doesn't mean the product is like bad quality. Like the product could be great. And reading a little bit about it, it looks like they're working with reputable, high quality manufacturers on most of this stuff. But definitely do your own research. I don't know that much about it. So I think it's really really cool, and I do 100% agree with this prediction because I think that print on demand companies are going to be looking for those opportunities because I'm sure they already are. Because if the print on demand company can offer these products, obviously that's going to boost their sales if more sellers can have access to these products. And then on the seller side, like we talked about, it's just like, as opposed to trying to develop your own product, it's so much easier to do this, to white label something, especially if you're an influencer, you have a following, that kind of thing. I mean, it's crazy. The one that came to mind initially, that I think could probably be in here is like hair products.
Mm.
You know, if you're a male influencer, like in the in like the maybe you're in the beauty space on the male side, like or I know there's a lot of people that I look at on YouTube that give advice on like how to dress as a male, and like those kind of fashion tips, like starting like a hair product line could be like massive, right? Like if you have that kind of thing built up, I'm sure. And then I'm sure on the other side, with the female side, there's like a bazillion hair care products that you could potentially sell. So that's the one that came to mind. But other than that, on the spot, nothing too crazy. What do you think about hair products?
So do you mean like hair gel and like hairspray stuff like that?
Yeah, that was like the first thing that came to mind was like I guess I'm maybe more thinking on the male side. I don't know that much about it on the female side, but definitely on the male side, like you could definitely white label different kinds of hair product because there's a lot of
Yeah,
stuff out there.
I'm just
Mainly,
looking. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
well, another one that kind of fits in that category, which I don't think is, I know this is a really popular one, but I don't think that they have this yet. Would be like beard stuff, right? Is there beard oil available on here?
Yeah, so
There's
I
like
was just
hair
looking at
oil on Printify.
there's a couple of hair products in the Printify. There's in the Printify catalog for beauty. You've got hair growth tonic. You've got hair
Hair oil.
oil. What's that?
I saw the hair oil. So like I wonder if that's something you could start as like a beard care brand. There's a lot of those brands out there.
Oh yeah, there's so many beard oil brands, a lot of
Yeah.
successful ones too. I've
Yeah. So
heard of a number of them being interviewed on like podcasts and stuff.
yeah,
Um,
for sure.
and there's
Yeah.
one
So
men's hair. Sorry, go ahead. And then
no, I
I
was just
have
gonna
an
say
actual
that
example.
the hair products that came to mind just initially kind of put me on the spot. Like the hair products that came to mind would be in the beauty category, obviously, but those might be some products that they could add.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that wouldn't be shocking at this point. Nothing would
No,
be shocking unless they're like doing print on man cars. You know what I mean? Like
no, I'm
something
not shocked.
absolutely
I'm just
insane.
kidding. Just kidding.
But yeah, like it's like getting less and less shocking now. Ever since like this year, I feel like before this year, I would like I would have been really shocked hearing about like coffee and supplements and all this, and now it's like hair products doesn't sound that far fetched at all. I was going to say there's a super successful brand that I heard interviewed on a podcast called Brickle, and it's men's products. And they were absolutely killing it when I heard about them on this podcast. They're based out of Maine, the state of Maine. And I think they were rated one of the fastest growing companies in Maine or something. And it was really cool hearing the CEO, like the founder, talk about like their journey and building this brand. And clearly there's a demand because they were blowing up. And yeah, if Print on Demand came out with products like them, I mean, what's to say that that person might not have just started a print on demand business if they could have at the time. You know what I
For
mean?
real.
Um,
Yeah, it's
so
really interesting. I was trying to think of like what are other food items that are like I guess non-perishable. You
mm,
know, coffee fits in that category. I was trying to think of maybe what else would be in there.
tea, I don't
Pet. Hey,
know.
what about pet food? Pet food could be another one. If you want to
Oh,
start like a pet food brand.
I mean, that'd be
Um,
great for all the pet brands out there, the print on
yeah,
demand prep
100%.
brands.
Yeah,
Wow, that would be interesting. My only concern with food is like legal issues. If someone like chokes on it, or if they
yeah,
get food poisoning, or if like it's a little bit too risky for me personally. But I could definitely see some people just leaning into it and probably
yeah.
seeing success. All right, let's move on to prediction number 5. So this one is now we're turning up the heat a little bit. I'm getting a little bit spicier here with my predictions. So this one here, I think that there's going to be a bit of a shift away from standalone AI tools like Ideogram and Midjourney. They're super popular right now, and I still think a lot of people are going to use them. But I think that there's going to be less of a I think there's going to be more of a shift away from them and more of a shift towards AI built in functionality in programs that print on demand sellers use every day, like Canva and like Kittl, as they continue to improve their AI capabilities. I mean, you
Mhm.
think about Canva. We were talking about Canva earlier in the year, there, and we were like kind of like razzing them for their AI, just like, oh man, it was terrible. It was awful. I remember trying to
Mhm.
generate some images, and I was like it was just like cringe. But then they went out and acquired Leonardo, which is like a massive AI company, which is great for some people. Some people like it, some people don't, but a lot of people were using it for design creation. And what does Canva do? They go and acquire it, and now they're like baking it into Canva. Kittl, I think we're both in agreement that they have good built-in, like impressive AI functionality built into the program. And so I think what we're going to start seeing is the core print on demand products that sellers use every day. They're going to be implementing more and better AI functionality into their programs, maybe going out and acquiring companies like Canva did with Leonardo, or just like building better AI capabilities themselves so that sellers can spend their time in less tools. Like they can get a
Mhm.
lot of what they need in this tool and a lot of what they need in that tool. So Kerry, you're a big AI guy. You're like my go-to for AI stuff. I want to hear your thoughts on this.
So I kind of disagree with you on this one. I would actually my prediction would probably be the reverse. So
Ooh, all right.
let me explain. Let me explain.
Let's hear it.
What? Yeah, I have so many thoughts on this, but so you kind of have these two types of software kind of clashing a little bit. So what's happening right now is what you're mentioning is like Canva and Kittle and these like graphic design softwares are adding AI features to their graphic design software. But then you have the reverse. So you have programs or softwares like Ideogram that are AI image generators. You see this in Midjourney too, as well. Midjourney, Ideogram, Recraft. There's a number of other ones, but uh, these are like AI image generators that are adding graphic design tools. So it's kind of like they're both trying to add each other to their software.
Sure,
The,
totally,
the,
man. Yeah.
the graphic design softwares are adding AI. The AI softwares are adding graphic design. Um, my thought, though, I actually think personally, I think that the AI image generators, I'm not going to say they're going to like win out in this scenario. I don't think they're going to like put Canva and Kittle out of business necessarily because I think that's still very needed, and I think that you know they both can work can still survive and thrive probably, but I think that it's actually going to become more popular to use the AI first softwares because the AI is so much better. Like if you just kind of think about it that way, if you have a graphic design you have a software that's graphic design first trying to do AI as opposed to an AI first software trying to do graphic design, the AI is going to be better in the native AI software. And that's kind of already what we see is like if you go to Ideogram, Midjourney, those softwares are way better at AI stuff than Canva or Kittle, but they're not as good yet at the graphic design stuff. And I just think when I look at like if I just look into the future, I think if you go to you want to create a design, whatever, and you can go AI first, and you can kind of there are ways to use that AI to improve your design and tweak it and change it and add things. I think that's probably the future forward. Um, like all of these features that are in the graphic design tools that are a little more manual right now, those will become AI features. So you can like one thing we saw this has been out now since sometime I think in 2023, but when we saw DALL-E integrated into Chat GPT, where inside Chat GPT you could ask it for image prompts and you could use
Mm.
DALL-E basically through Chat GPT. What that like that flow of like this is my personal graphic designer where I can say, create an image of a cat and it creates a cat. And I say, make the cat blue, makes the cat blue. And I say, the ears are too big, make them smaller, add this text, yada, 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 put it on the top and make it curved. And it does it. I think that's the future. The way that I see it, it's kind of that AI first and being able to have a conversation and with the AI and it being able to be more accurate and create exactly what you want for your design as opposed to having to do anything manual. Um,
Hmm.
so that's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, no, I respect your opinion and I wanted to hear it. And I'm actually
Yeah.
really happy that there was a little bit of disagreement on this. You know, we don't
Yeah.
want to agree on every prediction, right?
Yeah.
It'll be funny next year to see who was right and who was wrong. I don't really care either way, but I like that we can go back and forth with this. So I have a couple questions for you.
Yeah. Hit
First of
me.
all, do you not think that Canva, Kittle, those kind of tools are going to have those similar capabilities built in where you can do all the same prompts, do all the same stuff, and be like good?
I think they will. I think that's probably where it's going is like because they're adding more and more AI stuff. I just think because they're a graphic design company first, that the AI is not going to be as good as an AI first company because that's where that's what they're good at, right? Is the AI stuff.
Mm.
They're trying to figure out how to do the graphic design stuff. So like that's kind of how I see it. The interesting thing, like you said, and kind of like the caveat to all of this is like, can they just buy up an AI company
That
like
was my
Canva
second
did?
question,
Yeah,
dude. You
can
stole my
but
thunder. I was gonna say, what if Kittle acquires Ideogram?
yeah, yeah. Um, it's an interesting thought. There's a lot of ways to look at it. All of these companies right now, AI software companies like Ideogram, Midjourney, they have so much investment and so much funding and their growth is like through the roof. It's just insane, so it's interesting. Like it's interesting. Like how do we know where, for instance, Kittle is at on the spectrum of how big they are compared to like ideogram? It's like, how do you even know, right? Um,
Maybe
but
ideogram will acquire Kittle.
maybe, well, no, I mean for real. But I
Who
think,
knows?
I mean, what's interesting to me is I think it's really hard to integrate these other softwares together. And I'm really curious on what Canva is going to do with Leonardo, because to my knowledge, they haven't done anything yet. They're still operating independently. It's been about, I think, 6+ months since that acquisition, I believe. And I haven't seen any changes. Like I know there's a lot of AI features in Canva, and some of them are good, some of them are not good. But like, are they going to do anything with it? Is it too difficult to like integrate that into Canva? Was that not their plan from the beginning? I don't know, but I do know that like a lot of times, and I don't know the ins and outs of, I don't know anything about coding. I don't know anything about AI writing these things for AI, these kind of softwares. But what I would say is, a lot of times with mergers or acquisitions like this, especially when it comes to software companies, so a lot of times software is built. They're like the two softwares are built in different coding languages and they don't work together. And I always find that interesting when I see a software like buy another software and it's like this one was written in PHP and this one was written in Python, and it's like they don't they know you never see them, like they never work together in a good way. It doesn't always come to fruition. So it's like it's interesting. I assume they know what they're doing and they have a plan, but like I haven't seen anything yet. So like it's yet to be determined if something like Leonardo is going to be good in Canva, if it's ever going to be integrated or ever going to work right. It's really interesting.
Yeah, man. So many questions. Like it's just kind of like all we can do is wait and see. Like
Yeah.
only time's gonna tell.
The
But
same question with Printify and Printful. I know we're going to talk about that, but like
yeah,
even just from a software perspective, like they have two different softwares. Which one is going to work when? Which one's going to be the one? Are they going to somehow merge the features of each of them? Like it's just a interesting conversation.
totally, man. Like is Printful just gonna become a production partner in Printify and they keep
Yeah.
Printify user interface? I feel like that would be kind of the simplest way to go. I'm not saying it would be the best way necessarily. I like both a lot. But I feel like that'd be like the simplest way. But I don't know. Or like so many, I feel like so many things are going to happen in 2025. Like all these questions we have, we're going to know a lot more in a year from now, I feel like. Or nothing had changed in some of them and then we'll be disappointed. So only time will tell, but good discussion. Good discussion on AI. I like hearing your thoughts on that. All right, here we go with my final prediction. This is my sixth and final, and then we're going to move on. I'm going to throw it over to Kerry to share his predictions. So this is, I don't know, maybe my juiciest prediction, but I don't know. Listeners can tell us if they think this is my juiciest. Place It will introduce mock-up technology that allows users to create realistic mock-ups from their own images. I really want this to happen. Like, I really want this to happen. With the rise of sites like Recraft, which I heard about for the first time from you, Kerry, thanks for that, that now allow you to create realistic mock-ups from your own images, I think Place It, this is my really far out there prediction. I think they're either going to acquire Recraft so that they can just take that technology and then just right away just bake it into their program. Or I think that they're just going to create the technology themselves and give Recraft a run for their money. One or the other. I think they're going to do it because print-on-demand sellers want options. Like we want options when it comes to product images. And we want to use product images that actually look like our ideal customer. And some of these sites, like they just don't have a ton of options or they're not like replenishing them quick enough. I love Place It because it has the world's biggest library of mockups and it's growing all the time. And I love that. But if you're in a brand with a very specific look of an ideal customer and you want all your products, you want people to be looking like your ideal customer wearing all your products, which makes a lot of sense, so that it catches people's eye and they can envision themselves wearing your products or using your products, then this would be an incredible feature. And I know that, you can do AI generated mockups. Recraft, like, they're the first one that I heard of that actually allowed you to use your own images, which I think is so cool. But that's my juiciest prediction, is that Placeit is gonna do what Recraft is doing. They're gonna either acquire Recraft, because Placeit is owned by Envato, which is actually a very large company that acquired Placeit. So what's not to say that Envato wouldn't just acquire Recraft so that they can have that technology and offer that to their suite? Think about how much better that would make Placeit. Like, Placeit's good, but like, it would be better with a feature like that. Kerry, your thoughts?
Man, so many thoughts. I think that what I would hope Placeit would do in this scenario is not only let you upload your own images and turn those into mockups, but also have their own AI image generation built in, where you can generate a mockup in Placeit and then use that as a mockup. I think that's really the magic. And man, like, I've had 2 videos on YouTube showcasing basically how to create realistic t-shirt mockups through AI, and both of them have just like gone wild on my YouTube. Like, and so I say that to say, like, I know that the demand is there in like our world, and really it's the like apparel, custom printed merchandise world. When you have these custom made designs that you need to put on products and you need to display them digitally, like, we need this. We need this. Like, not everybody, knows how to like do it in Photoshop and do it really well. And that is very time consuming and difficult. Even if you know how to do it, like, it takes a long time to map that whole image out, especially if the image is not like perfectly, facing forward with the right lighting, all the things. Like, it is difficult for people to do. And like, this is a needed feature. And it seems really silly that in 2025 that we really don't have a great tool to, at minimum, be able to upload an image and just like click a button and turn it into a mock-up where you can lay a design on it and it look realistic. Like, that just seems like think of the technology we have, and we can't do that. Like, it's crazy.
We can put a man on the moon, but we cannot create a mock-up generator built-in tool all in one.
Yeah. I mean, think about what AI is doing, and it's like you can't do that. And I think there's a need for it, and I think it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for somebody out there that's going to make this, whether it's Placeit, whether it's Recraft does it, but there is limitations. And a lot of the mock-ups that people are getting in Recraft right now, like, one of the big issues is you really, like, a lot of times you can't make the design pop. Like, it just doesn't really pop. For some reason, it's dark, it's dim. And the technology is really cool in Recraft, but it's not quite there. I'm sure that they will improve it. But yeah, here's where I'm at with this prediction with Placeit is I feel like they should have done this like a year or 2 years ago.
I know, right? Like, what are you waiting for?
Like, come on. Like, I'm waiting. Like, I'm literally just like, please do this. Cause like, we love Placeit and it's so great. And there's thousands of mock-ups, but like, I think we're just at a point where I think most sellers, even if they're using Placeit, most sellers would agree, like, we want our own custom mock-ups. Like, we love the templates. The templates are amazing, but like, we don't want to if we're being honest with ourselves, we don't want to use the same mock-ups that everybody else is using. Does that really matter? I don't think it matters as much. Like, in most niches, you're not going to be reusing the same mock-ups of other people in your niche. Like, I get that. But like, if we're just being honest with ourselves, we want to generate models and people that look like our ideal customer, that are realistic, that we can add our designs on, and they can be unique to our brand. And taking it a step further, right? Like, how is there not already a tool where you can generate a lifestyle mock-up of a person and then be able to use that same person across multiple products and styles and colors, right? Like, it seems like I could create my own avatar and then be able to use that same looking person. And it's like there's workarounds, kind of, but it's just not to a place where it's easy. And that's I would where I would really agree with this prediction is that I would say in 2025 it's going to become much easier. Is my hope prediction that it's going to become easier to create these really realistic mock-ups, and you can do it with a few clicks of a button, and you can make it highly customizable. You can change the colors, you can change the textures, you can change the backgrounds, you can change the features of the person, like those kind of things. So I really hope and I predict it will.
Yeah.
Confident.
I think you just gave our listeners a glimpse into the future.
Yeah.
Like a tool where you can just have your ideal avatar and then you can have them with all the different styles, all the different colors. Man, that'd be so
Dude, it'd
cool.
be so
Come
cool.
on, place it. We hope you're
It doesn't
listening.
seem like it would be that hard, but
Yeah,
maybe it is.
right. And dude, you gotta think that Place It has gotten a ton of requests for built-in AI mock-up creation
Oh
technology
man.
to actually build your own AI like mock-ups.
Mhm.
Something like a lot of people are using Midjourney for right now, but also the recraft style where it makes it look really realistic on the product, like on the shirt or on the whatever product it is they're wearing.
Yeah, and
So,
what also is interesting, I'd wrap it up with this, but like what Placeit has done is like they've just added AI generated templates, and it's
mhm,
like
yeah,
it's a little bit of a letdown. I love Placeit. Placeit, if you're
yeah,
listening, I'm a fan. I'm your biggest fan. But like, they've added all these like AI mock-ups, and it's like, I mean, that's fine, it's great, but let us create them.
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you, man. I feel you. I'm in agreement. I would agree.
Mhm.
All right, man. Over to you. The floor is yours. Let's hear your predictions.
So I've got four predictions. So I'm kicking it off with number 7. And I predict in 2025 we are going to see more consolidation of print on demand companies. The market is maturing, and the market is it's been around for a while now. Like, I don't know how many years exactly this kind of print on demand for small sellers like us has been around. I'd probably say my guess is we're going on 10 years, somewhere around 10 years, since companies like Printful and some of these companies came out. And this isn't that spicy of a take because we just saw consolidation, with Printful and Printify merging. And this might have been, was this on my predictions last year? Might have been on my predictions last year
Yeah, yeah. I
in
think
some
it
way.
was, and then that merger happened, and we were like, "Holy cow!" Kerry is
Yeah.
Nostradamus.
All
Kerry
right.
is like the psychic.
I got one right. Got one right ever. Um, no, but I think we're gonna see this more and more. There's a lot of print on demand companies, and
Mhm.
they just there's so many different kinds and so many different sizes. I mean, there's print on demand companies where when you email into their support, you get the owner that messages you back and is like, "Yeah, we'll take care of it. Me and my dog will take care of it." It's like there's just like all different sizes. There's all different print on demands that specialize in different types of products. And I just think there's such an opportunity for these large print on demand companies to buy up some of these smaller ones. I think the conversation, so my prediction is we will see another acquisition in 2025. It may not be the biggest. Were we recording a podcast the other day when we found another one? I can't
Yes.
remember what company it was.
They
Um,
were like two smaller. Well, I
yeah,
shouldn't say smaller because I wasn't too familiar with them,
yeah,
but they were like not like your typical like Printify Printful gelato.
yeah.
You know.
It was
Um,
two. It was two that were merging.
mhm.
They were merging together, and they were smaller, like you said. But I think one of them was like fairly well known. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see more of this happening in 2025. Um, I think the conversation for me is around, is this a good or a bad thing? Like, I just really don't know, what that means for print on demand. Like, um, I think there's downsides, there's upsides. It depends on how it all goes down. Um, I talked about in my Printful Printify video on my YouTube, just like the possibility of this creating a monopoly with Printful and Printify combining and just being this massive company that can kind of control prices, can really steer the market, and that can be dangerous from one perspective. I think it can also be good from another perspective. But there's lots of things to consider. But I do think we will see more consolidation of print on demand companies, more mergers, more companies being bought, and everything in 2025. It could speed up. Like we could just start to see them going and going and going. And I don't know. We're just gonna see what happens. Any thoughts on that before we move on to the next one?
No, not really. That wouldn't shock me at all. Now that the two biggest have merged, like that wouldn't shock me at all. So yeah.
Another one and I know this episode's getting a little bit on the long side, but I don't know if you've seen that SPOD rebranded to, I guess, Spreadshop. I know they were always owned by, I believe it was Spreadshirt. So it's interesting that they rebranded to Spreadshop. Like SPOD as we know it is like no more, I guess. But it's like, and from my eyes, I'm like, if SPOD was working, they wouldn't have rebranded that. You know what I mean? Like they would just keep it going. So it's like interesting that those kind of things are happening. We're just seeing a lot of those things happen. So anyways.
Yeah, actually it leads me to another like spin-off prediction, which I'm just like thinking of this on the fly. Watch us just keep going down this rabbit hole. This is the last thing I'm going to say about this. What if like Printify, Printful, this new company starts acquiring their production partners? Like they buy Monster Digital, or they buy SPOD, or they buy like the top ones that people are using.
Yeah.
And then they own those facilities, and they would have a bit more control over quality and stuff like that. Like I'm just like spinning down the rabbit hole now, but I don't think that would be that crazy now that the company is so much bigger.
Yeah, another thing that's interesting, and in that same vein, is I was looking at some news articles earlier on this exact subject, and there's actually a lot of articles that have come out that talk about how the print-on-demand market is such a like ripe market for like big investors coming into it, and that's essentially what happened with Printful and Printify. Apparently, from what I was reading, is just like large investors came in and were like, "Hey, we want to buy up both of you and make it one," essentially. And so if investors, like these very large investors, are catching on to this market as an opportunity, we could just see money flowing in and these companies getting bought up and merged and closed, whatever. I don't know. But it's interesting. It's interesting. It's definitely a topic right now.
It is. Agreed.
All right, moving on to number 8. So we got 3 more. Moving on to number 8. This one's got to be my least spicy. But then the last 2 are spicy.
Yeah.
All right, so this one's got to be my least spicy. Personalization will continue to explode is the prediction. Personalized print-on-demand products. So this is already a huge trend. I mean, it's been multiple years, and everything that I see, all the data, all the stuff just shows that personalization is continuing to grow, continuing to be more of a trend. I think consumers are looking for it, and it's just growing and growing. So this is already a huge trend, but I believe in 2025, we'll see it become more widely available inside of print on demands. And it will this is the big one that I want. It will become more available on more products. So a lot of times when we see it come out with print on demand providers, it's not available on everything. You can't offer personalization on everything. And so I'm predicting like it's going to be almost any product you can think of can be personalized inside of a print on demand. And I think you're going to see more print on demands offer personalization for their sellers. It's really just a technology thing in my mind. Like you got to have the technology and the software. And so I think that we will see this kind of, if buyers and sellers are demanding this feature, I think print on demands will put it in, and we'll figure it out. And I think that's where we're at, is like, you can't ignore it. I mean, it's a huge trend. And, for our listeners that don't know, like there are many print on demands that already have these personalization features built in, but I just want to see them expand. Gelato, I think, is the best one for personalization. It's really, really easy to set up. They have it on a number of really attractive products, but just want to see it expand and become better and better. And that's what I think we will see.
Good prediction.
Yeah.
Like good prediction. I
At least spicy.
definitely, yeah, not so spicy. Good, not so spicy prediction. But I do agree with you. I think as it becomes easier, more print on demand sellers will adopt it. And I want all we care about is whatever is going to make print on demand sellers more sales and more money and more profit. All the freaking power to you. That's what we want for everybody. So I think you're right, man. I think the barrier to entry is going to continue to get lower, and print on demand companies are going to continue to make it easier and have more products with it. And I'm all for it, man. As long as it doesn't like bottleneck someone, and as long as it doesn't, cripple them and keep them from moving forward quickly, then I'm all for it. And I hope this happens. So yeah, good prediction.
My 9th prediction. This one's a little more spicy. I really hope this happens, but this is along the lines of the conversation we were having earlier around AI features and graphic design, all this kind of stuff. My number 9 prediction is we will see our first POD integrate AI features. So this could be a number of things. I mean, there's so many things that, as far as AI, that a print on demand could integrate. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to look at this, and we might even see, a print on demand integrate AI features that we're not even thinking of. Like there might be some other way that they integrate it that we're not thinking of right now. But one thing that we've seen over the last few years is that more print on demands have integrated graphic design features. They're not necessarily that great. And I'm curious why they're not that great. And I do want to hear your thoughts around this, but like in many of the larger print on demand softwares, you can do things like add text on a image. Even some of them have like clip art built in where you can find images and you can just create designs. Like they have a graphic design tool built in there. They're just not very good. And they're like, is it because they don't want you to like, do they not want you to have to get rid of Canva and Kittl? Like, you know what I mean? Like maybe there's something there where they don't want you to not pay for these other, I don't know.
Do they not want you to actually use the features they're building into their product?
But like, no. Do you know of any sellers that use these features? Because they don't do very much.
All right. So it's really interesting. Like to date, I've never met a single person that creates their designs in the print on demand software. I think I received like a comment on Instagram from someone who was like, "Oh, can you upload fonts into Printify?" But I don't know if they were saying like, "Oh, I use the Printify design and then I upload the fonts." I agree that from what I've seen, the software is not good for design creation in these programs.
There's one exception that I have, but
okay, I want to hear that. But the reason, like the only reason I can think that it's like no one seems to be using it, right? And so maybe they're not investing a lot in it because right now no one's really using it. Maybe they are building relationships.
If it was good though.
Maybe they would, right? And maybe they are more focused on building relationships with the tools that people are using, like Canva and Kittl. Like Printify has a relationship with Placeit now. Like you can just go and add Placeit mockups if you have a Placeit account. It's like built in now.
That's really cool.
So they are starting to like. It seems like in some areas they're like creating their own software, and then other areas they're just kind of partnering with someone who's really good. But the first reason that comes to mind is that this is just one tiny piece of their software and it's not their primary focus. So it's kind of like the jack of all trades and the master of none, right? How can you be the best at design creation when there's huge companies dedicated to this? That's their bread and butter, and that's not yours. And not many people are using it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Maybe it's one of those things where it's a feature that they're like, man, we really would love to add this. They spent some time on it, they added it, and then it was just like, again, this isn't the primary thing we do, and they just kind of let it go to the wayside. Maybe I was gonna say the one exception is with personalization. We just talked about personalization. When you do personalization in these apps, one of the things that's really popular to personalize is text. And so typically that text needs to be added on the design in the print on demand software. So you would upload a picture of the mountains, and it's this place where people got engaged, and you would add text that says, the date and the name, and that text would be added in the print on demand app so that it can be customizable. And so like in these print on demand apps, you'll see that there's a lot of different fonts. Some of the print on demands have better fonts than other print on demands. And that's like what you were mentioning, is somebody was asking, can you upload fonts into these print on demands? So that's kind of like the one exception, is like adding text in there. But even that, a lot of print on demands don't have. This is actually one of the big things that I would say that they need to add in there, is they need to add text effects. Like text effects are so popular in print on demand. And like if you are doing personalization, you're inside your print on demand and you add the text in there for your personalized print on demand design, and you can't curve it, you can't do anything with it, and it's just like blah, then it's kind of like a letdown. You know what I mean?
Especially because so many best-selling designs are purely text-based or primarily text-based.
Yeah.
So 100%.
Yeah. So anyways, back to my initial prediction is, imagine a print on demand with that AI mockup feature built in, or with AI design tools built in. Like, I think the low hanging fruit for print on demand softwares that have graphic design tools in there, the low hanging fruit is to improve the text, the fonts, the fonts and the text effects. That should be easy. You could do that quickly, I think, because that's just some tweaks. Going to the next level is if they had an AI image generator built in.
That would be cool.
If you have the text down, if you could go in there and you could generate a picture of a cat, and then you could add the text, that would be great. That would like level it up. And then like
100%.
I guess the huge advancement would be like adding in the AI mockup features that we're hoping that Placeit or somebody else adds, that like actually adding that into the print on demand software. But my prediction for 2025 is like, we're going to see, let me just say this. I know for a fact there are print on demands softwares and companies that this is squarely on their radar as something that they want to do. Like, I know that's a fact. How quickly can they do it? How good can they make it? Will we see it in the next few months? Again, it comes down to priorities, right? So like my prediction is we will see a print on demand release some interesting AI features into their software.
So who's it going to be?
I don't know, man. It's going to be one of the big ones. I mean, it's going to be one of the big print on demands.
Yeah.
For sure. But it's going to be interesting to see, what they put in there. That
was a goodie. I hope that happens, because we all know that POD companies have been like historically bad with mockups, not creating good high converting mockups. I will say they're getting better, but there's still a lot to be desired there. That's why we're going to places like Placeit and Etsy and creating our own.
All right, my last mock-up. If you made it to this point in the episode, congratulations. You're going to get the spiciest or the spiciest prediction of the whole episode. All right, number 10, virtual try-on for apparel and print-on-demand products.
Oh, say more.
Virtual try-on for apparel and print-on-demand products. Okay, I want you to imagine, just close your eyes right now if you're listening. Imagine being able to go into your favorite brand's website, looking at that t-shirt, and being able to virtually try on the clothes from that brand using your phone camera and augmented reality. Okay. So essentially, like, you'll be able to go to a website, you're looking at a design or whatever, you'll press a button, it'll open your camera, your selfie camera, and you can hold out your phone, or you could set it down and back up, and it will virtually add that t-shirt or that coat or that hoodie onto your body. And so you can just look at your camera, whether that be like on your computer screen, on your iPad, on your phone. You can look at your screen, and you'll see yourself wearing those clothes. You'll be able to turn and those kind of things. Or say in that same vein, being able to, again, go to a product, tap a button, it opens the camera on your phone, and you can point it at your wall, and you can see the piece of wall art that you're interested in buying on your wall. You can pan around your room. You can see, I'm in my space, right? But like, it's showing what that piece of art would look like on your wall. And there's a bazillion products you could think of to do this with, but this could greatly reduce returns, right? Because people can see how things fit. People can see what the colors look like on them. And this is already beginning to be available. But it's not available for us, right? Like it just, you can't really do it. Like, but big brands. So have you ever worn, I guess you do you wear glasses? Do you wear prescription glasses?
They're not prescription. No, they're
Okay.
blue light blocker glasses, actually.
Yeah. So there's a brand called Warby Parker. Are you familiar with
Yeah.
Warby Parker?
Yeah. Very
This is
familiar
where
with them.
this is where I've experienced this the most, and it's really useful. My wife just actually used this the other day, and then we ended up going into the store and buying some glasses that she wanted. But they have this virtual try-on thing, and you just open your phone and you point the camera at your face, and then you can just like swipe through different eyeglasses styles, and you can turn your head and you can just like take pictures, and you can see what the glasses look like on your face. It's
That's
super
super cool.
useful. It's
Yeah.
really useful. And I was reading up on it. I don't know exactly how these other ones work. That's the one that I'm familiar with, but apparently like Nike has released an app where you can like scan your foot, and it like, I guess it tells you what shoes would be best fitting for your feet. And then it will show you what those shoes look like on your feet.
Cool.
Um, and then like Sephora, the same thing as we're talking about with Warby Parker. Apparently you can like put makeup on with the Sephora. They have an app to put makeup on so that you can actually see what the makeup would look like on your skin tone and all that kind of stuff. So like this is already happening. But like, again, I want you to imagine, if you're a print on demand seller, that this is either natively built into your print on demand app, or it's natively built into Shopify, or even if there was a Shopify app, right, where you could plug in the Shopify app and then it would enable this feature. Maybe it would use AI to scan all of your designs and products, and then it would just virtually be able to do this through the power of technology, would be able to create this for your customers. So that's my spicy prediction. You're going to see it become mainstream in 2025 and become available for smaller sellers like us.
So you think a lot of print on demand, by the end of 2025, a lot of print on demand sellers will have a tool for this that they are actively using, and people are going there shopping, seeing themselves?
That is my prediction. I'm sticking with it, Adrian.
That's a big, bold one. I like it. I like it. I would love to see that happen.
I think what makes the most sense is that there would be like a third-party Shopify app that comes out.
Yeah.
That would probably, how you see a lot of Shopify apps that you go on their Shopify app page and it says like integrates with, and then it's like Printful, Printify, Gelato, and it has all these print on demands. I feel like that's probably maybe how it would work, is like they would have to integrate with some print on demands and be able to pull in the like product catalogs. So like if that app like knew the products, in advance, that way when you added them to your store, like it basically just had to change the color and the design, and it was like it could do it. I don't know. I know that's really sounds kind of crazy, but I bet this is gonna become mainstream in 2025.
I don't even think it sounds that crazy. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if you were right, especially like the Shopify app. Like, I totally, like, I could see an app developer creating something cool like that.
Again, it's kind of one of those things that when you hear about it, it's like, it's interesting, and it's like, you're like, wow, that would be really cool. But on the other hand, you're like, why don't we have this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why do we not? It seems like kind of like a no-brainer. Like, again, the crazy things we're doing in this world, but like, you can't virtually try on clothes. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
So it's yeah.
Dude, those are goodies, man. I like your predictions. It's going to be really fun. And I definitely think this year was spicier than last.
For sure.
So it's going to be really fun seeing what happens over next year. I think 2025 is looking very bright for print on demand sellers. I'm excited to see this and whatever else comes to pass in 2025. So I guess we'll wrap it up there for this episode. Ooh, this is a marathon episode. So for everyone listening, thanks for sticking with us. You guys are awesome. We hope that in 2025, you go out there, you take messy and perfect action, and remember that you're always just one design away. Take care, guys.
See you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Print on Demand Playbook podcast. If you enjoyed it, please leave us an honest review on whichever platform you're listening from. Thanks again, and have a great day.